We want to take a look in this video at metric conversions. This is a 10 centimeter long ruler, and so you can see that these centimeter measurements are there. 1, 2, 3, and so on. Now within here, within that centimeter, you can see that there are 10 smaller divisions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And these are millimeters. So we know that in 1 centimeter there are 10 millimeters. And the other basic conversion that's important to know is that in 1 meter there are 100 centimeters. And the good thing about the metric system is it's all in using a base of 10. And when we use a base of 10, worth noting here that when you multiply something by 10, you move the decimal 1 place to the right. The reason why it's 1 place is because there's 1 0. So if we have something like 2.61 times 10, all we need to do is to move this decimal 1 place, because there's 1 0, to the right. And similarly, when we're dividing by 10 or by factors of 10, let's say we're dividing by 100. If we're dividing by 100, then we're going to move the decimal 2 places, and because we're dividing means we should be getting smaller, so dividing, we're going to move the decimal to the left. And in this case, we're going to move it 2 to the left because there's 2 zeros. So 368.7 divided by 100, we would move the decimal point here 2 places left because we're dividing. So 368.7 divided by 100 would be equal to 3.687. So that gives you an introduction to the metric system. Now let's look at doing some simple conversions. If we want to convert 2.5 centimeters into millimeters, then we're going to use a method called factor label. The method of factor label is a way of converting units, and it goes like this. We have 2.5 centimeters, and that's the original value that we start with. And now we want to get rid of, so we do it, multiply it by another fraction. We want to get rid of our centimeters and replace our centimeters with millimeters. So this is the label part of the factor label. And I'm going to do lots of these so you'll get the idea. We have 2.5 centimeters, and now I want to get rid of centimeters and replace centimeters with millimeters. So these are the labels. And now what we have to do is we have to insert the conversion factor between the two. And we are going to use these two here. So we know that 1 centimeter is equal to 10 millimeters. So we have 1 centimeter is equal to 10 millimeters. And now what we do is we cancel our units that appear top and bottom, because those will cancel out. And we circle our final unit that we're left with, which was the one that we were asked for in the question. And now we just perform our math. And so we have 2.5 times 10. And this is really easy to do in your head, because from the last page, we know when we're multiplying by 10, we're moving the decimal 1 to the right. 1 because there's 1 0, and to the right because we're multiplying. So 2.5 times 10 really will be 20 And so 2.5 centimeters is equal to 25 millimeters. If we take a look at another example, we have something like 300 millimeters, let's say, and we want to convert 300 millimeters into meters. Well, now we're going to use this whole concept of factor label, and that was introduced in the imperial conversions as well, the imperial conversion videos. So we have 300 millimeters, and we want to convert it into meters. So using factor label, we have 300 millimeters, and that's what we're starting with. And now we need to get to meters. Well, with my first conversions, I can go from millimeters to centimeters, and then from centimeters into meters. So I'm going to do two factor labels here to do this conversion. I'm going to go from millimeters, and I'm going to replace millimeters with centimeters. And I know that there are 10 millimeters in 1 centimeter. And now if you look, my millimeters unit cancels, and now my units, or my label, is centimeters. And now I want to get rid of my centimeters and replace it with meters. And I know that there are 100 centimeters in 1 meter. And now my centimeter units cancel, and I'm left with meters. And so now, again, the really nice thing here about the metric system is, here I've got 10 and 100, so I have a total of 3 zeros. 10 times 100 is 1,000, and so really I've got 300 divided by 1,000. And if I'm going to divide by 1,000, 300 divided by 1,000 really means I'm going to move the decimal point, and there is no decimal point now, so I'll put one in there. I can represent 300 this way, and I know I'm dividing. So if I'm dividing, I know that I'm moving the decimal point to the left, and I'm going to move it 3 decimal places to the left. So there's 1, 2, 3. There will be my new decimal. So 300 millimeters is equal to 0.3 meters. And usually we put a 0 in front, 0.3 meters. And if we take a look at one final problem where we've got to do several conversions, we could have something like this. We could have 25 centimeters plus 8 millimeters plus 2 meters, and we could be asked how many centimeters, for instance, that is. So if we need to do that, then we don't have to worry about converting this because it's already in centimeters. But we're now going to have to convert 8 millimeters into centimeters. And using the factor label conversion method, we start with what we're given, which is the 8 millimeters, and now we put our units we want to get rid of in the bottom, and the units we want to convert to in the top, and then we put our conversion factors in there, and 1 centimeter is the same as 10 millimeters, and now our millimeters unit cancels. We're left with centimeters, and here we have 8 times 1/10, or 8 divided by 10. This 10 is in the denominator, and so we know when we're dividing by 10, there's 1 0, and we're going to move the decimal point 1 to the left. We're dividing, so we move it left, and 8.0, and I know that's strange to write it that way, but I'm doing that because when I move the decimal point 1 place to the left, I get 0.8. And now I've got to convert 2 meters into centimeters. So I put the units I want to get rid of on the bottom, the units I desire in the top. I put my conversion factor, 100 centimeters in 1 meter. And now my meter units cancel. I'm left with centimeters. And now I move the decimal point from 2. If I'm doing 2 times 100, most of you obviously know that 2 times 100 is going to be 200. But using the same principle, if I'm going to move the decimal 2 to the right, 1, 2. And that's really how we get 200. So 25 centimeters plus 8 millimeters plus 2 meters is going to be 200 plus 25 plus 0.8. Notice how I stack up all my decimals in a row, and I had to put a decimal in there because of the 0.8. But here I get 8, 5, 2, and 2. 25 centimeters plus 8 millimeters plus 2 meters is 225.8 centimeters. So that should give you a good refresher on metric conversions, especially centimeters, meters, and millimeters.